Hey, everybody. Thank you for coming to Critical Conversation. Tonight's episode is Facts and Fiction. So it's up to you to figure out what's the fiction and what's the facts. We're just here to let you know what's going on out there. I want to introduce some people to you tonight. We have Gloria Talley. We have Ming Mitchell. We have Anton Scott. And we also have Melion. So let's get into it, Gloria.
Okay. Before we do get completely into it, let's get a little bit of history on some folk that are on this channel. Okay. Bing Ming.
Yo.
Tell us about you. Tell us about your walk in life, my dear.
Started out in the music industry, under back in those days under Puff Daddy, worked at Bad Boy, did a lot of security work for him. Which elevated me to walk into other doors. Did work for T.I. and Tiny with their group, the OMG Girls, Michael Baisden, 50 Cent, um, SWV. So, it's quite a few people I've been around and had the privilege of holding them down, being on the front line for them. So, it was a well experienced DJ Who Kid. So, shout out to all of them.
What about, I think you also worked with Young Dolph, didn't you?
Young Dolph, yes. Oh man, how could I forget that? Young Dolph was a real close client of mine. Rest in peace, Dolph, forever.
Yeah, rest in peace. Okay, Anton, tell us about yourself.
My name is Anton Scott, co-owner of GT Management. Again, like me, I started off in music when I was like 16. Got close to being signed. Some things went awry, didn't happen. Went into bodyguarding at 18 and been quite a few places. Been with a lot of people, Pussycat Dolls, Tommy Davidson, Christina Milian. Done a lot of jobs from here to Atlanta to pretty much all across the East Coast. And now I am trying to help musicians get where they need to be without all the fuckery in the music industry. It's a lot of back doors that I want to keep people away from because it can be a dangerous game, So that's just a little bit about me.
I know we definitely are going to be getting into that tonight. So, hey, Melion Music, talk to us about you.
Yeah, I'm just I'm just a small town city boy from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. You know what I'm saying? Singer-songwriter, been in the game for a very long time. Had my first deal when I was 21. Multiple deals after that since. I've had a chance to write for multiple artists such as Chris Brown, JoJo, Remy Ma, Mary J, SWV, and a lot of other people. I had a chance to sit in some very, very influential rooms as far as my career is concerned. But my career is still actively going. Actively still doing music and venturing off into other areas of entertainment. And I do my best as well to people DM me and inbox me all the time asking me how is it that I do what I do and how I'm able to move as an independent, like how I move. And I do my best to try to give them some information because everybody is trying to go into your pockets. Everybody, you know what I'm saying, especially as an independent. So yeah, that's my history. But my history is still present as far as what I'm doing in the music. I'm still moving forward in the music industry, and and I've made some strides, especially with my recent Grammy consideration. So yeah, I'm blessed, and I'm moving forward in a positive way.
All right. Lisa, young lady.
Well, hello, hello. I am Lisa. I am with Lockett ENT, a company that a family-owned company that I have. This branded some awesome guys. King Crank, Dusk Bones has been on many platforms. And we had Corey Kent. We had a few guys. So, but I've been blessed, just keeping it moving, keeping the company moving, keeping the business going. And now, and I've been friends with Gloria for over 10 years now, and we've been rocking with it and started something new.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing about me. You never know where I'm coming from, because I've been thinking about some other things to move along too when it comes to media. I brought it up to Lisa. Lisa said, "Oh, okay," and that was the end of it. But I mean, it was a good idea in my thoughts, in my mind. But we'll talk about that later. I'm just saying, I thought it's kind of
You
cool.
say it,
Everybody
I
else is
implement
doing
it.
it. I mean, huh?
I said, you say it, I implement it.
I'm just saying, okay. Oh, let's talk a little bit. So I know that we got some things that we definitely want to talk about. I know some people have some history with some of these individuals that we want to talk about, but I just kind of want to kind of touch on a little bit. I think Lisa, you wanted to talk about an issue that we saw recently in on YouTube's, on the news, just everywhere, Instagram, you name it. So let's talk about that, Lisa. It's dealing with Kanye West. What's going on with him and that black hoodie thingy that he was wearing?
Well, see, Kanye did some interview and he just was putting it all out there on the table how he really felt. But the thing was, he came in a black KKK outfit. That was the ringleader right there.
Mm-hmm.
So, you
Mm-hmm.
know, I don't even know how I feel about that.
Yeah, how does anybody feel about that? What were your thoughts when y'all? I don't know. Did you all see him come out on this interview? Did everybody see that?
I have. Me personally, I don't think Kanye's been the same since he sacrificed his mother. And he has been losing his mind ever since. There are things he says where sometimes you be like, maybe he's on to something. And then in the next sentence, he'll kill everything. Like absolutely everything. Like, I don't know. I don't know what he's going through, but I think his sins are coming back to get him.
Okay. All right. What about you?
I know what they're going through.
All
Shit.
right. What's that?
I know what they're going through. It's what happens when you date a Kardashian, man. Every single dude. It's what every single guy who went through their household got wrecked. I
Yeah,
mean, you
that's
tell me I'm
true.
lying.
That's true.
You got a
Tell
point
me
there.
every single male that has attached themselves to a woman in their household in some form or fashion
They
has
lost their
been
damn mind.
either emasculated or emasculated themselves, Bruce. Like so.
Mm,
So I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. They got cancel culture out here. So let me not go. Let me not go too crazy out here. But as far as Kanye is concerned, Kanye West has consistently done his best to stay relevant. It's just really that simple, right?
Yeah.
We think he's crazy. He's not. I mean, because at the end of the day, like think about it like this: you ever see that one dude downtown in the middle of nowhere? He just downtown somewhere, and you think he crazy, but he really not. He
mm.
he talking to himself and he's whispering to himself. But when it's time to eat, when his belly say I'm hungry, he snap right out of bed. Actually, for a sandwich.
Yeah.
No, he's not crazy. He actually is brilliant when it comes to being staying relevant. Now, is he moral? No, not in my opinion. Like I mean, like some of the things that he's doing
Okay. Mel's frozen. Ming, you got
So,
something you want to add to
yeah.
that?
I'll definitely piggyback off of Mel. Some of the things he's doing is to do it just to stay relevant. what Kanye is doing is I look at it, he's actually a marketing genius. Um he puts things together that draws attention to him,
Mm,
especially with the black KK, the black KKK outfit. He knows that's going to make people tune in to watch him.
mhm,
And so,
mhm.
he will do anything that he has to do to stay on top. I mean, that's just a, a a genius move.
I,
He does things that uh, a typical random person will be, damn,
mortified.
homie is
Like
crazy.
what?
Like he lost it. But every time we tune in, that's increasing his pockets.
Who do you
Facts.
think kind of without, I don't even know if they even know it or not, but there's one other person that I can say that kind of puts me in the mind of Kanye West, except his is more on a comical level. Y'all have any idea who I'm thinking about?
Cat Williams,
Mm-mm. Um, what's his name? The guy that was played in That's So Raven.
Orlando Brown.
Orlando Brown.
Oh
Does he not
yes.
Orlando
remind
Brown.
you? Yeah, does this kind of not remind you a little bit of an Orlando Brown situation? Except Orlando is more of the comedic aspect of it, whereas Kanye is just like in your face. This is it. This is who I am. Love it or leave it, whatever. You know what I'm saying? They kind of remind me of each other, but just opposites in terms of their thinking. I don't know. Is it just me, or do
Two
you all
sides of the
agree with
same
that?
coin.
Hmm.
Two sides of the same coin.
They
Mm-hmm.
really are. They
Mm-hmm.
really are. And quite frankly, I think that Orlando is quite. I mean, personally, he's a genius too.
Yeah. So what do you think about Kanye having North on the song with Diddy?
I'm gonna let me handle that one. Go ahead, me.
Um, this is the first time me hearing that. I didn't know that went down. That's definitely something that I would need to look into more. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know too much about it, so I can't really state anything about that. Um, but you got to look at it, guys. When it comes to stuff like that, it's about the dollar. It's about the
Mm-hmm.
money. It's not
Yeah,
really about
morals or
what's
anything.
right, what's wrong. Yeah, it's just about the money with those guys. And the more they can get people to draw into them, that's building up their financial empire. Cause they know it's gonna create waves, and they know it's going to make people talk. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's why they do. That's why they do shit like that. You know, they look at it as saying publicity is publicity. This
Mm-hmm.
gonna bring in some more money. I really don't give a damn what people really think. Long as them dollars is rolling in, I'm good on that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I
True.
mean,
True. True.
Well, I
if
did find a clip. I did find a clip for you all. If y'all want to check it out for a second, would y'all like to see this?
Okay.
Yep.
All right,
yeah,
hold on a second. Yeah, because I'm like, yeah, hold on. Let's see. Here we go.
Now, what is going on with Kanye, North, Kim, and Diddy? Kanye West recently released a song featuring not only his daughter North West, but also Sean Diddy Combs. This could be Kanye's way of provoking Kim and making it clear that he won't play by her rules. West has shown support for Diddy during his legal issues, advocating for his release and collaborating on fashion projects like a Sean John Yeezy collaboration. And Kim K and Diddy have also long history. Kim and sisters were attending his parties. Corey Gamble, Kris Jenner's boyfriend, also had close ties to Diddy and his ex-girlfriend Kim Porter. Kanye's support for Diddy seems less about Diddy himself and more about his ongoing rebellion against the Kardashians and mainstream media. Kanye has repeatedly accused the Kardashians of trying to control the narrative, his children, and even his career. By siding with Diddy, someone the Kardashians have publicly discarded, Kanye is making a statement that he doesn't follow their lead. Now, what is
All right. So that kind of gives you an idea of what's going on, Ming. There has been a big uproar referencing his daughter being on record with Diddy.
I
So
mean, if you look at it and if you look at it in that aspect, Kim Kardashian really don't have any room to talk because she only became relevant over a sex tape that she put out that
Facts.
her mom actually produced, and put it out there. So it's like a double-edged sword.
that was crazy
it's,
to find
it,
that her
it's
mom was way that deep involved about that.
And wanted to drop a
oh yeah,
second one.
it's all about like I said, it's all about the almighty dollar. That's all what it's about. There is no morals with some of these people.
But it's
Morals are
crazy. How
gone.
can you exploit your own child? I guess I'm just tripping because I'm just trying to understand that. Like, not to mention the fact that she's a woman. How can you exploit your own? Well, at this time, I think she was like kind of young actually. But how can you exploit your own flesh and blood? With it, I mean, with a
U.S.
sex
dollars.
tape, with the sex tape, and you're back there and you're orchestrating it, actually directing it. I'm like, I don't even know as a mother, I wouldn't be able to watch. It would freak me out. But,
Oh,
you know.
yeah, that's a little going overboard. Going overboard. Going overboard.
Mm. What
You
were you
So,
gonna
you
say,
only
me?
well,
gotta
speaking on
remember.
that level too, what about Kanye's other song, Cousin, where he was talking about how he was with the cousin?
The dude, the fellatio, and all
Yeah.
that.
That yeah, that has come up. Apparently, yeah, he's now saying. I mean, there in his song, he does state that he had
When Bob and Fab was John said, yeah.
was involved with a family member.
Yeah.
Mm,
At
so
14. At 14. Like,
well, I mean, I'm personally okay. Look, I'm gonna really get into it. Here we go. I personally feel this is just my opinion. Everybody else's is their own opinion, but from what I'm seeing right now, I feel like he's a sexual deviant. I say that based upon the fact that, well, for one, God bless him. I'm sorry that happened when he was 14, but somehow or another, that just seemed like it followed him all the way through to his adulthood. Because now you're now putting a woman that you're supposedly in love with out on Front Street,
wait,
showing.
you think Kanye's the sexual
I
deviant? You're
said
him?
supposedly in love with. That's the message he's giving everybody. He married the girl, right?
So
Beyonce,
Kim,
Fiance,
so wait,
whatever her
so
name
Kim
is, Sensory.
Kardashian ain't?
Huh?
Kim ain't?
No, I'm not saying that she's not a sexual deviant.
Oh,
I'm saying because I think Lisa was starting to talk a little bit about. I was like, I feel like he's a
Are you talking
sexual
about
deviant.
Bianca?
Yeah, Bianca Sensori, I think it is her
Yeah.
name,
Well,
and
she did make a statement that she felt that she did make a statement stating that she felt bad for Kanye and that people should think that that there is something wrong with him putting that in a song, that it's something that it really should not have come out like that, that he was taken advantage of by cousin.
okay. Well, what about him putting her out?
That on Front Street with no clothes on.
so
I mean,
so
would you?
so
Huh?
question. Y'all think he's making her do that? Like she's not a grown woman and who's like, I don't want to do this. Like you're gonna do it or else.
I don't know. Let's talk to Ming. Ming, what you think?
um all these people in the industry, from especially what I witnessed backdoor, um, they all have choices. They all have choices, and they all know if you want the fame, you're gonna have to do certain things. See, these type of people are not normal like us. That's their normal. So we're abnormal to them.
Right.
So
That's
their
their
moral
normal.
compass basically is what you're saying is just shot out of hell. It's gone.
Right. A lot of these people, if you look at it on a spiritual level, a
Mm.
lot of these people, there is no faith in God. That has exited the door a long time ago, and they knew what they were getting into. They knew what they were getting into, and so some of them rather have their fame and riches now than to endure it later.
Mm, mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
and what's the cost? What's the cost of fame? So you going, like I said, you're gonna be out there. You gonna do certain things, and it's almost like it's a cult. That's what they do. That's what goes on. And then you
Mm-hmm.
got some people that are famous that never reach the level of these people that sell out. They'll never reach that level.
You think
You're
that's
only
what
gonna
really
go
did it
but
for
so
them?
far.
I mean,
You think that's
I think that's the way it is because, like I think once you cross that threshold and you pretty much sign blood on the dotted line and sell yourself,
mm-hmm. What do you think, man, Tom?
I think I think that's how it is. Like, like for some people, like they stay independent, they do a lot of stuff, but they don't reach that level of professional that level of space like other people in the industry do. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, um yeah, as an independent, you get a lot of clout, you do a lot of stuff, but you do make money, but you don't make that level that you do when you actually, sign with some of these people and pretty much sign blood, your name in blood, and you sell your soul to the devil to
Mm-hmm.
be successful. And then next thing
Okay.
you know, you got them out here doing crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, literally
Um,
crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what they have to do now to maintain what they've done signed up for. I mean,
does anybody?
there's a level of maintenance that you have to do once you sign up for that. I mean, and it's like you have a choice, but you don't have a choice because your choice was to sign up for this. So once you signed up for this, you knew what you had to do. So now there's no going back. You do what you have. You do what you signed up for.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Anton.
So my question is this, because I look at a lot of things and I think to myself, everything in life, everything in life has a sacrifice. We go to work every day and we sacrifice our time with our kids, our loved ones, our whatever. You know, these people take it to the extreme. Um, Whatever they're sacrificing to get over these barriers and thresholds. Me personally, I can't say I would give up my kids or give up my kids' uh, innocence to get somewhere, or to give up a parent, or to give up. I don't know. I've watched the way, let's say, Jennifer Hudson transitioned and how she blew up
Mm.
after certain things happened. Uh, Kanye West, like you said, was making a little bit of money, but once his mama went through what she went through and she was gone, he took off like a rocket. You know, once Aaliyah was gone, certain people stepped up. Um, there's certain pieces of the puzzles you can put together and you can actually watch what happens. Like I'm like Ming though. Like, what is it to give it up here and then die and have to burn in hell? Like I'll wait because my gifts are coming.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what but you know what's crazy to me is that I mean I hear everything and I get what everybody's doing. I mean that's beautiful. You want people want to be relevant in the music industry, whatever. I hear all that, but my thing is, it's like, why do you feel like? Why does one feel like they gotta? And I'm gonna direct this to Ming because I know Ming, you and Anton, both of y'all have been like security in the music industry.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that you all have seen just as a person on the outside observing on the inside about what's really going on? Because you all got knowledge, and I know, and I'm not even about to pick your brain on that. But I know you all have knowledge of certain things. And my question is, what do you think? What kind of person you all think it is that just says, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to sacrifice this. I'm going to sacrifice that. I'm not going to be. I want to be rich now. I ain't worrying about what's going to happen later. Everything's about now. Now. Did you all run into a lot of that in the music industry? And if so, is there anybody you all tried to have a conversation with and try to get them to see that they may be going in the wrong direction and God forbid something has happened? I know it's a long one.
I know for myself, I've always I was that silent bodyguard, so I never would really talk unless spoken to.
Yep.
I didn't really have no interactions with these type of people. But what I would say, um, I would never um, take my girl or somebody I'm in love with to an industry party
Mm.
because she won't remain your girlfriend. I can tell you that much.
Yep.
She won't remain your girlfriend. I would never. I would never show her that side because it's a lot of stuff that goes on, and that's just not something that I'm willing to give up. I'm not willing to share my woman with somebody else.
Right, right, right.
And if all those couples you see, they're couples in the limelight, but there is no there is no straight relationship in that.
I was going to ask you about that. I was going to ask y'all
Everybody,
about that.
yeah, all those couples you see, all of them have open relationships.
Mm-hmm.
All of them. So if me and
Mm-hmm.
Anton was down with that, if me and Anton was down with that, he bring his woman, I bring my woman. You know, in that world, it's okay for him to bang my woman and me to bang his, and then we
Yep.
go
And then go
home
out
like
for
it's
dinner.
nothing.
Yep.
Yeah, it's nothing. That's the norm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just ain't on that type of time. So I always kept it. I speak when spoken to, and kept it on that level. I never mingled with that. But did I see it go down? Yeah, it goes down all the time. It's the normal.
So in
It's the
that word, it
normal.
is normal. That's considered
It's
normal.
the normal.
Nobody's going to feel any kind of way. It is
Nah.
normal. So what made it abnormal? Because apparently now it's beginning to become a thing. I'm looking at what is going on with Diddy, and I know that he's got his court date coming up next month. I know that they've been trying to push it off. I'm not even sure if they were able to. I don't think that they have been at this point. But I
I'm a,
mean, when the Cassie thing came up, what were your thoughts? I want everybody's opinions on that. When you all saw the footage of what he did to Cassie,
I'm gonna be
what
honest.
what were you all? Did you all feel like it started from there? Not meaning started
No.
the physical altercation. Do you think it started like that, or do you think something led up to, obviously something led up to it, but
Yeah.
I think it's something that probably had been going on.
mm-hmm.
It had been going on, it's like a behind the scenes closed door situation. It's probably been going on for a minute, and she was just to the point where she was just trying to get away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, I
who in the world would have thought that he would have chased her down in a towel in the daggone lobby of a hotel?
Well, are we sure money wasn't involved? Was he
money.
chasing her, or was he chasing the money?
Y'all know the NDAs was up on a lot of people. That's why a lot of people talking, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
the contracts that people been signing and everything, all of that stuff is up. So now you can't attack somebody once it's over. That's the only reason he gave back rights to music and stuff to do.
But it really didn't amount to nothing. What he gave back was of no value to anyone that he gave it back to, because all the money was already gone. So what he gave back really was just a sneeze, just basically saying, "Okay, here you go. This is your stuff back." But I've already gotten all, allegedly, but I've already gotten all the monies that I need to make off of it. So yeah, here you go. But do you think that that was all right? He gave those things back, but what was the sole purpose of giving them back? What was it that you were trying to stop from
Puffy
happening?
was trying to Puffy was trying to change his image. Um, the reason why Puffy is in this situation, I know firsthand, is because he he bit the hand that fed him.
Yep.
Do I know who that person is? Am I feeling like I know who this is?
Yeah. Um,
Okay.
he bit the hand that fed him, and he went against the grain. And that's one thing you don't do.
Mm-hmm.
You don't go against the grain. They don't care who you are because they made you.
I was going to say, do you think that
They
he took it
made you.
upon himself to feel that he was more powerful than that person that you're speaking of that he crossed?
I would say yes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now, one thing I will say, this ain't the first time Puffy was beating on women. Puffy beat up his moms before, but that never
Oh,
came out. He beat his mother up. He used to curse his mom out all the time, saying, "Why you in my business? This is my company." Um,
but
that
was
so
it really
that's
his company or is it her company?
Bad Boy Entertainment is Sean Combs. The financial support that comes with Bad Boy Entertainment, all the money is divvied up in between his mother and his kids.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, Puffy is worth probably $1 because nothing is in his name, which is
That's what
smart.
I thought. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is nothing is in his name. So say if he do lose a settlement and stuff like that, that really don't affect him. You got to look at it. You can't get 100 million from somebody that got $0. You can't get it.
Because that's what's now coming out. That part is coming out where his financial there's becoming some, I mean, allegedly there are becoming some financial issues because he's been hit so many times and paid people so many times and to pay the lawyers and he's losing lawyers, gaining lawyers. I'm so confused by that whole thing.
Because
I'm just like,
is he going to have a
is
law
he gonna
team
have
by the time
lawyers?
it's all done?
Is he gonna even have
But
a lawyer?
the only reason why Puffy is losing lawyers is because they offered him a plea deal and he's turned every one of them
He
down.
did. And he recently turned one down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
he turned
recently
it
turned
down.
one down. What do you think overall
He
that
turned it down.
if you had to look into a crystal ball, what do you think is potentially going to probably happen? And do you see this becoming a domino effect? Because let's talk about it. What's his name? Shannon. What's his name?
Sharp.
Yeah, Shannon Sharp. Child, it's like leading into one after the other. But go ahead.
I would say that it's a money grab. All of it is a money grab. That's all it is. And from what I know, I can't put it out there right now.
Right.
But from what I know, um, if Puffy, I keep calling him Puffy, if Diddy really wanted to be out of prison, he could be out of prison. But he'd be a dead man.
So technically, his life. Do you?
His life is really in danger. If he exposed the real truth, and which is smart what he did, he got cameras all through the house. I knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that thought that that wasn't happening, I mean, that's his insurance policy. So if he
Mm-hmm.
ever, if he really wanted to expose it all, he could bring down a lot of people, but you'll be burying Puff. They'll kill him.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, do
Yeah.
you think that's why California has been burning?
Yeah, yeah. Most definitely. Most definitely. It's a lot of evil in Cali. A lot.
Man.
A
Hmm.
lot. A lot.
Mm.
Um Now I can say, you know, Puff, he's Puff is a interesting individual. He's very you know, he's an interesting individual. But he's not the big fish. Puff is not the big fish.
Mm-mm.
This goes
Mm-mm.
way beyond Puffy. This
I
goes
think
way
Puppy tried
beyond
to
Puffy.
overstep his boundaries though with it.
Puffy did overstep his boundaries, and that's why
Mm-hmm.
he's where he's at.
Mm-hmm.
Puffy tried to start, allegedly, Puffy tried to start his own black political movement, and they wasn't going for that.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They wasn't going for that. They wasn't going for
Mm-hmm.
that. So
Mm-hmm.
they had to put the vice grips on him to let them know, like, hey, like, we still running this. They're not gonna let you get that powerful. I mean, back in the '90s, the next powerful man that I would say that's in prison right now is Suge Knight.
True.
Okay.
He was getting
Okay.
too
Mm-hmm.
big. They had to cut
He
him at the
did. Yeah,
knees.
you saw that one. You saw. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Suge was getting too big, so they had to cut him at the knees. They tried to kill him. He was getting too big, and so you take somebody's power away, you take away their influence,
Mm-hmm. 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 You think
and
that they're
that's what
gonna
they
open
did.
up?
Puff in
Mm-hmm.
jail, Puff in jail, Suge's in jail. I mean, but the main
And
key
these are big heads.
players,
These are
the
big
big
heads, key
wig,
players.
the big, yeah,
But it's
they
like
walking
it's
free.
like that. Yes, they're in jail, but it's like as like they have them in jail and everybody's focused on them, but there's a bigger story going on out there, and it's really not about them.
Who do you think the story is, Lisa?
I don't know. It's like they're using them for a cover up of what really is going on.
Exactly.
You think it's related to music, or do you think it's related to world?
I think it's related to world. I really
Mhm.
think it's related to world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, like they're using big figures in the United States in the music industry because guess what? People are drawn to music. So we're going to use some of these big influential people and bring them down. And so everybody's going to be focused on what's going on with this. So everybody's focused on what's going on with Diddy, what's going on with Kanye, what's going on with R. Kelly, what's going on with all these different influential people in the music industry, but there's something else going on in the background. Like I read an article, um, and one of the articles that I read was that Bill, like when when they did the thing about Bill Cosby, that the
Mm-hmm.
only reason why they went after Bill Cosby technically is because they brung out everything that he did with the women, but it was because really he was trying to buy NBC.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, wasn't he trying to buy
He
NBC, and
was trying
that's
to
when
buy
all hell
NBC.
started
Yeah,
breaking loose?
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and to knock him out of, hey King Crank, I'm glad you
Not,
could join
not
us.
Hey, how you
what's
doing?
going
Oh,
on,
King
everybody?
Frank, go ahead and introduce
What up? What
yourself.
up?
What's happening? What's happening? Okay, Monster Ming over here. What's happening,
What up?
everybody?
What up?
So
King Crank, Crazy Talk Radio founder, CEO.
All right, King Crank. This is Anton Scott. I don't know if you know him or not, but Anton is works with me with GT Management.
Okay. Nice
Okay,
to
and
meet you.
then you know everybody else on this here line.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, I mean the reason I'm asking is because we all know that there is a bigger picture. There's a bigger situation going on outside of Kanye West and outside of what's the brother's name, P Diddy, and outside. I mean, I'm ready for them to start talking about Snoop for real. And I
There's
think they
there's
are.
there's some allegations going
I think
around.
they're trying to actually, and then Shannon Sharp. So these are big names that we're talking about, but they're also big names that, as a regular person, we're all focused on. We all are aware of who these people are. But in the meantime, in the background, and I don't want to go into politics, but you all already know where my mind is going. The bigger picture, I'm wondering that we're missing is dealing with the Elon Musk and the Donald Trump situation. I'm wondering if that's, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Just out of curiosity, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Um, we we're heading into a direction where everything would be under a one world government. That's the direction that we're heading in. And a prime example of that, and I don't know if people can have woken up to see it, but it's starting out with the new IDs that we have to have to travel.
The real
So with
IDs,
The real
the
yeah.
IDs.
the real
Mm,
ID.
that did, yep,
So
yep.
so it's starting with that, but people are so close minded that they're totally overlooking
They're missing it.
that factor. Because all right, so you take it if you don't have the real ID, you can't travel. It's gonna come to a point where if you don't have a certain device that if you don't take this certain mark, it's gonna be to a point where you can't buy or sell. And
In the
they're
Bible.
showcasing it. Yeah, they're showcasing it right now with the real ID. Like, hey, you cannot fly if you don't have this. You You can't go here if you don't have this real ID, and it's being forced upon you, where it's
Mm-hmm.
going to come to a point where you're going to have to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
So if
Mm-hmm.
people will start opening their eyes and seeing what's going on, this is exactly what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
there has been
And
predictions.
a lot of the stuff that's happening, they good for.
Huh?
What'd you say?
Go
I
ahead.
didn't hear you,
You
Craig.
said they had their predictions. No, I was
Say what?
listening
No.
to Ming. I thought he had stopped.
Oh.
No, I said
Oh,
I was listening to him. I
so
thought he
like
paused. I was going to jump in there and say something.
so like what a lot of the lot of predictions is that Donald Trump will be the last president where he will turn the government into, I forgot the correct verbiage, but he will be considered himself King Trump. Well,
I mean, don't y'all
everybody will
see that?
have to fall under fall under his umbrella. That's the predictions that we are heading into now, that has been the main talk.
But didn't he
And
say?
Elon,
Didn't he say he'd be the last president? He said that.
Mm-hmm.
He pretty much put that out there that he is going to be the last president. Everything after that is going to be Trump, 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 Trump. I mean, this is what allegedly, this is what we're hearing.
well, there you go. There you go. I mean, we have to start opening our eyes. I mean, everything. There's gonna be no more middle class people. Either
Yeah,
it's gonna
that's
be the
gone.
poor or
Poor
the
or rich.
rich. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everything is
Mm-hmm.
going up. I mean, everything is crazy out here to survive. You damn near need two or three incomes just to make it,
Mm-hmm.
to live
Mm-hmm.
comfortable.
Yeah. Well, you were gonna say something, Crank?
Yeah. You said a mouthful there. I mean, it's tough out here, and pointing back out to that real ID. I have to travel and use a real ID, and the only people I see coming through the airport are people with real IDs now, or they have passports or some
Mm-hmm.
kind of other paperwork stating that they're classified to travel. Uh, it is very hard out here in the job force. I see it every day. With people struggling, you got people, digging in the garbage can just to get scrap to make money, and you know, it's tough out here. But
Mm-hmm.
back to what Ming was talking about with this Trump thing, it sounds like he's trying to turn America into like some kind of monarchy, and him being the last president, that's kind of like that's a tough moniker to take on. And he's putting a lot of laws in place right now, where it's kind of like no president after that, if there would be, can't change them.
Can't change it. And that's what I'm saying. And not just
Yeah,
that, he's also
so
putting it out there that he's going to make sure that his son will be one of his successors.
and this
Go
is
ahead.
not allegedly. You can't.
No, I'm putting allegedly up there just in case. Just in case. God put that allegedly up.
Well, Gloria, it's just like you and I was talking the other day about all of these plane incidents.
Lord,
Like
please
all
don't
these
talk about
plane
the plane.
incidents,
I'm
none of this
always
stuff
on.
started happening until Trump and Elon Musk got into office and doing what they're doing.
I have kind of, yeah. So just to let y'all know, situations dealing with the planes, it does that. It can come close to home. It can touch home. And my son was one of those people that were requested to deboard the plane because they had someone on there that was refusing to get off the plane. and this individual was wearing a backpack. He was of a foreign descent. The interesting thing is, we all have the video footage of it, but it doesn't seem like anyone else does. So if you go online and you try to research it like you would see everything else, you don't see that. You don't see it. And he
I
ran
mean,
into that situation yesterday, huh?
that's stuff like that when they don't try to let that type of stuff get out. It's just, I guess, to prevent that widespread type panic. And
Yeah, it's not part of the narrative they want to put out.
Yeah, but I mean, the narrative, that's what they've been putting out. So why did you change the narrative all of a sudden? Well, the guy wanted them to be filmed. He wanted to be filmed anyway because he said, "Yeah, everybody get this on film, get this on film." And then he looked directly in my son's camera and said, "You would do the same thing if you were me."
He sure did.
And so my question is, with your stamp of your Donald Trump stamp and what exactly do you mean? So I guess that was my thing as a parent. I had a son who was at risk on that plane. I want to know what happened.
Right. So what do you do in those situations? Like, how do you reach out to the media, or get, proper authorities involved, or, or how do you contact the people, to make sure these things don't happen,
There were a lot of people filming that whole entire thing. It doesn't make sense that it did not get on film. You know what I'm saying? It just, for me, it doesn't. You can say
ain't go viral yet.
Not even viral. When I'm telling you, Crank, you cannot find it anywhere.
It was literally like cut off.
It was ghosted. There's nothing about it. But yet we've got the full footage of Homeland Security and you know what I'm saying, the airport cops and all that. It's all there. So it's nothing you can hide. You see what I'm saying? And I feel like people have sent it to the news outlets and stuff, but for some reason I'm not understanding why it has not been put out yet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Put out.
I mean, I don't know. I can't say I know how they do their. I can't say I know the protocols for a lot of things like these situations. What all I know is they probably maybe took it down for the means of gathering evidence, possibly, and then they don't want to leak it out. And then too, what you were saying, all of this is happening by virtue of a terrorist group, a terrorist act, allegedly. So they wouldn't want to give that no kind of press at that point in time. Maybe like I said, I don't know the protocols for that type of thing, but I tell you what, though, it's kind of fishy that you can't go up there and find the information or can't find no.
A leak is a leak. A leak is a leak, and you've seen stuff leak. Some of the minor stuff leak, major stuff leak. You've seen things leak. Heck, they were leaking the UFOs and the drones and all that stuff. You get what I'm saying? So I hear you, and I hear everything. But what I'm saying, so that's why I'm saying that's the problem. The distraction, and this is just using Diddy and all of them as an example. That's the distraction.
Yep.
From the reality of what's really going on, because it's like Lisa and I were talking about. Since somebody has come into office, and since he was chosen, let's do that. The voting date. From that day forward, this is all we've been hearing. They wanted to start it off with the UFO and drone thing. That didn't work out because nobody got scared. No, we didn't get scared. I know people did not get scared. Matter of fact, they were welcoming this. So let's go with something a little bigger now. Every plane that you turn around and see now is falling out of the sky, or running into something, or falling into houses. And I mean, this is like constantly. So even with the incident that I know about my son, the same day, it happened elsewhere, but that was reported. That one was reported. So at the end of the day, I'm sitting there going, I see what's happening. They're using, it's going to be just my own thoughts, but they're using certain people in the music industry that we know that we are captivated by, where they're trying to get our attention focused on that. So whatever's going on over here, We're missing it. We're just missing it.
Well, all that goes back to saying that I mean, if that's the case, and a lot of stuff been happening for years, from the Bobby and Whitneys to the Jodeci's to all of that. You know what I mean? Like the list goes on and on of what they've been, I guess, spoon feeding us in programming our minds, and putting it and interjecting what they think is best for us to know, and if we don't use our own self understanding to intervene in these things, we wouldn't understand really what they're trying to do.
So
And
basically, you're saying they're trying to control the media.
Right. And it's not even just so much of the media. They're trying to control, as Ming pointed out, they're controlling travel, they're controlling everything. They're controlling to the point of what you're going to be having, how to buy things, with this mark, and all
Yeah.
of these,
Does anybody got anything to say about that? I'm curious. What do y'all think about that?
I mean, I have real ID, and with my company, like I'm one of the only people that had a real ID for the longest time, and my company have sent out like numerous emails to all of those that don't have it to get it. So I know if my company is sending out, just thinking about all the other companies that may be sending out real IDs to their, constituents that travel and things of that nature. You know what I mean?
So what was wrong with just using your regular license? Why did we have to move into this real ID situation? Me?
I don't know why they changing up money.
Anton?
Why we getting big faces on bills?
Well, it's not just that, like the dollar bill's coming to an end. Like everything's going to Bitcoin and things like that. Like it's coming. Like the one world currency, that's coming. The dollar's about to drop. Everybody knows that. Like if you ain't been paying attention to what's going on, and a carton of eggs is $22, like there's things going on, like nothing makes any sense. Nothing.
Ming.
Yeah.
No.
Am I tripping, or didn't we have a conversation about this maybe about 15, 20 years ago?
Yeah, we sure did.
The exact same. Yeah, we did. We saw we actually talked about this.
Coming.
We saw it coming, did we not? That was about, I guess, every bit of 15, 16 years ago. We did. And that's crazy.
Hey, Monster, didn't we talk about COVID coming?
Yeah, we sure did. We did that too.
Hey, Ming, didn't we talk about all the events shutting down? We talked about all the events and everything shutting down. It wasn't going to be nothing else no more. Everybody but to perform and enjoy all the shows and all the artists coming out that you ain't seen in a long time. And all these big major tours.
Not the same,
and,
y'all. Music is definitely not the same.
Everybody wonder why it was a big boom. All of these tours and all of this stuff right before COVID hit. Nobody don't realize why all of these major artists went on tour all of a sudden. Everybody
overseas,
just show out a show, showing up everywhere. Even Snoop Dogg got his old ass up there and performed Up and Smoke tour.
Yeah, we was at the show.
And so much, and and it was just crazy, and you knew something was coming, but you just didn't know what.
You didn't know exactly what it was. But look about all the things, though, Crank, that were going on that kept you being distracted. That really kept you distracted when everything else that you're talking about is really going on.
Well, like just like the Real ID. The Real ID is the new tracking system.
Yep.
Right.
It's a tracking system. And, they're physically not putting a tracking system in your arm, but they are tracking you with that Real ID.
Yeah. I believe it possesses some type of technology in it too. Maybe that can probably track or locate you, because you can use it to scan things. They can scan your ID when you go places. Like when I go through the airport, they scan my ID through the little card scanner, or they scan it.
Go to the doctor's office.
Then they're doing a retina scan now too, where you got to use your eyes looking stuff and all of that. So it's like, you know, I can't
Don't you
get
think
through
the
certain
phones were
places or go,
actually
you know, get certain
initially?
clearances.
Do you think the phones were initially supposed to do what it is that they're trying to do? The new
I think
phones,
they were
iPhones,
supposed. I think they were supposed
They
to,
could
but
do
it
way
didn't
track
more.
work.
I
us.
mean,
Aren't they supposed to track us?
we open up apps with our face.
Huh?
Yep.
Yeah, they can track phones. They can track your phones. Yeah, they
No,
can
I know
ping
that they
it.
can
They can
track
track
the
you through
phones.
your
I'm
phone
saying, do you
anyway.
think that that's where it began? Do you think that that's where it started? It kind of, we know the real ID had been coming, but we're all just the trackings. I think when we
You
talk
want to
about
go? You want to
tracking,
go way back?
chip,
Phone
so I'm
records.
looking at could your phone have been the so-called chip at that time? You know what
Of
I'm
Yeah.
course,
saying?
phone records.
And
We
now
had
it's moved
pages.
into something else. You got AIs now. You got all of that.
Well,
They know everything that you think.
speaking of
You're
AIs,
teaching the
like
AIs.
Google, speaking of AIs like Google, Alexa, Siri, do you think that they actually do not listen to what you say that what goes on in your house?
Oh yeah.
All the time. I mean,
All the
my
time.
phone
Right.
be answering me when I'm not even asking it questions.
So am I the only one who will sit and talk to my wife or whatever, and we'll talk about a TV show, and then you get on Facebook, and that's the first thing that pops up on your
Exactly.
phone?
Yeah.
Gloria and I was just talking about that the other day.
I
Like,
think that was your first tracker.
yeah,
That was your first tracker.
yeah,
Hell, it's
Yeah.
got the GPS system on it. You're able to tell people where you're located. You know, it's the
yeah.
first tracker. You
Hmm.
know, you say something in your phone,
Actually, your
hey, I
first
want to
tracker
go
was
to
the sky
Zimbabwe,
pages.
and then you open up your phone, you see Zimbabwe on your internet. It's like, what the, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So I think your phone was your
They've been
first tracker.
tracking us since the pages. They've been
Uh-uh.
tracking us since the pages, phone
Yeah.
booths. They've been tracking us for a long time.
You got a
You know,
point. You got a point.
phone records from when
That
you
was your
from your house
tracking
phone.
device. Yeah.
You know, wherever you were, you're tracking your address, your ID. That's what they had that census for. What they put that census out when they going door to door to your house and want to know what's going on in there, how much you make, and how many
How
people in
much
your
you make.
household, and who the
Don't the
head of the
government already
household.
know that? But don't the
Yeah, I
government
remember when
already
I was
know how
going
much
to
I make?
school, we couldn't go to school based on how much my mother or father made in that
Yep.
locale.
Yep.
We couldn't go to a certain school because of how much we made. We had to put it on what they call a federal card. We had to fill that federal card out, which not only entitled us to what kind of meals we got in school or whatever classes we
Yeah.
took and everything. All of that considered how much we could. I mean, they've been tracking us a long time. They've been tracking us through paperwork because they had files and file cabinets. And when you used to go sit
Then we
down and
came
go
up with
get
the
jobs or go do
computers.
something back in the day, what did they do? They went to a file cabinet, pulled out paperwork, and went through, and now they went from files to putting that stuff on computers. Now you can't go find a file nowhere. Remember CDs? They ain't got CDs no more
CDs, yeah, that's gone.
because
Hmm.
everything is on what? Hard drive. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
That's not even on
DVDs
that.
are about
That's
to
in the
become
cloud.
obsolete too.
Yeah, it's in the cloud now.
So it's
Yeah,
technology.
DVDs are becoming obsolete. You know, I can
Right,
guarantee you
all of
going
that.
to
You know what I'm
movies is getting
saying?
ready to go away soon.
Hmm.
Like, where do you go
Everything's
to? Where do
streaming.
you go to a show and see a DJ with a crate spinning records no more? You know what I'm saying? Can't even really get a
Yeah,
real
man,
DJ no
press
more
the
spinning
buttons.
records. Yeah, they're
It just
pushing
brings a
buttons and
whole new
scratching
thing.
with a mixer. You know what I'm saying? Coming in
Yep.
with a laptop.
Yep.
You know, that's how they DJ in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you can't even really get a real. You can't get a real scratch no more. You know what I'm saying? They scratching with
People
the,
very
you
seldom
know,
your
with a
phone.
button. Yeah,
Hmm.
But that
like
just
you
tells
don't
you, I
even get a
mean,
real blend in anymore. It's on
yeah,
cue.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
queued up.
Let me ask y'all
So,
something.
You know,
So since we're talking about this, has anybody used the virtual reality stuff?
Yeah, I experienced with that before.
What
yeah.
did you think
You
about it?
talking about like games or just virtual reality type?
Like
those VR,
games and stuff.
The
VR
actual virtual reality goggles and stuff.
Yeah,
I've
uh,
used them. I've used them.
that's That's some trippy
It
stuff,
is,
man.
yeah,
It's
Um,
it's amazing how they can take and beam particles into your eyes and make you think you right into a place in your surrounding right there, and then almost kind of
yeah,
put your physical in that place. That's where they actually playing with the metaphysical world,
yep.
Right.
and the only thing that
Right.
separates you from the metaphysical from the physical is your etheric, your etheric being, But
Mm-hmm.
if in essence you like right there.
Well, I'm not gonna deny. I know I've only used it one time, and I stopped using it the moment I used it that one time. The reality of it was,
Yeah,
even though
they've
it
really
was in a
tapped into a lot of
cartoon form,
metaphysical
it
and
scared the hell
using
out
a
of
lot.
me. Even though it was in cartoon form, it literally shocked. It gave me a shock value. In other words, when something came up and went to you like that out of nowhere, freaks you out. Even though it's not reality, it is. What I was looking at was not even a people. It was just computer generated. If that makes any sense, I don't know how to
Mm-hmm.
explain it, but it
Mm-hmm.
was like, but it was. I remember the little kid on there, and it was like a haunted house or something. I was literally walking according to what I was seeing. I was walking through the house, and all of a sudden I could look over there and I would see a kid standing over there. And all of a sudden I would go over here and somebody be all up in my face like that. Freaks you out, right? Freaks you out.
Mm-hmm.
How can
yep,
something so uh-huh.
I mean, we came a long way because me coming up, I used to put on the red and blue glasses and look at movies and thought this was the best thing ever.
Come a
But now,
3D?
yes, yes. Now, you can just go to an IMAX and put on what looks like regular glasses, and it looks like you in the movie.
We gotta
Mm-hmm.
pay. We gotta
Yep.
pay.
yeah,
When we went to go
Mm-hmm.
see that one movie,
Yeah,
Anton,
yeah,
not red and green no more. They straight regular. Just
Yep.
yeah.
yeah.
Like you go to Walmart and pick up a pair. Like what the?
That was weird. That was they yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you ain't never lied. No, we could get in there. Something like this, we could talk about all day, all night, because
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you right now, I just know that based upon, I mean, kind of makes me wonder whether or not the world has already ended and restarted and ended and restarted and ended and restarted and ended. And you know what I'm saying? It's kind of making me wonder that is this what the meaning of the world ending and starting all over again? Do you all kind of feel that, or is it just me thinking that? I mean, it could be me.
No, it's coming. I'm trying to tell you, it's
Yeah,
it's not successfully here yet. It's happening in bits and pieces in certain areas, but it's coming.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when it comes, people's not going to be ready for it.
Well, they're already saying that places in Hawaii are messing up already. The big island was threatened recently by a volcano
Mm-hmm.
that they were concerned that could potentially wipe that certain areas out. So there's a lot of things that's happening, and I think a lot of it. I think we all have an idea of where it's all. Some of it is coming from, but it's something that's been coming on for the longest. We just now all of a sudden got people in place that really want to make this happen.
yeah.
Yep.
I think that's where we are right now. Well,
Mm-hmm.
listen, you guys, we are working up on an hour and 8 minutes. I know we got to get ready to go, but I want you all to give your final thoughts. I'm curious. Let me hear your final thoughts about fact or fiction, the way the world is operating today. Start with me.
well, I would say it's definitely facts. I mean, if you just take a moment and just sit and realize what's going on around you, and read. People don't like to
You don't like
read
reading
no
no more.
more. Yeah, if you just read and see what's going on around you, is basically facts.
Mm-hmm. That's
Setting
it.
up for it's setting up for the main stage. You
Mm-hmm.
know, yeah. This there's a greater entity that's getting ready to come here.
Yeah.
That's setting up for the main stage.
You're getting ready.
It's preparing it. It's doing it right now. but so many
Mm-hmm.
people are asleep and numb to it.
Or don't really believe it.
Right.
Again, 20 years ago, well, 15, 16 years, this is what we were really talking about. We
Yeah.
saw this coming. Even through the dollar bill, we saw this coming. The words are on the dollar bill.
The dollar
It was
bill.
already coming.
Yeah.
It was coming. The words were on the, if you look at it, the words on that dollar bill do say New World Order.
Order.
They do say that, except it's in Italian or something like that, some kind of other language.
Yeah.
But it is definitely saying that. So it was already ready. It was just waiting for the right players to implement it, and I think we're getting them. But Anton, your thoughts?
Yeah.
Um, I just want everybody to
I
wake
think
up and really realize what's going on. The Pope just died. They're getting the last Pope. They only got one more spot for one more person. There's a lot of talk about what happens after that. There's a lot going on, and it's like all people want to do is twerk, kill up people, and have sex. Like that's not gonna help us.
It's not gonna save you anymore.
It's not. Like, everybody's worried about the dollar bill and everything. When the dollar goes and you have no Bitcoin or you have no way to feed your kids or pay your rent or pay your LG&E and you got to go out here and hunt for some food, I hope you're ready. So,
Yep.
because trust me, mine is. I guarantee it.
Crank, what you got? Your final thoughts.
it's all a spiritual warfare.
Facts.
We've been fighting this battle for a long time. We've been fighting this battle before this lifetime. And the Bible has a lot to do with a lot of this.
Yep.
And everything that he spoke on, as far as like the Vatican is concerned, we don't know if the Pope is going to be a black Pope. There's some talk about things happening if it does be a black Pope.
Yep.
Allegedly.
I see that they picked somebody.
For those that read and know about the Trump family and his lineage and his history, it's deeper than that. And when we say read, well, not just talking about, when I say read, I'm not just talking about read audio book or I'm talking about like a book, like a book about these people that we looking at on TV. Anybody seen Elvis Presley lately? But the thing is, with all of that, if you really pay attention to what's going on, you will really, really understand.
You can see it.
How what we think is true money is old money, and that old money been in control for a long time. And we wonder how the hell that old money just come out of nowhere and rise to power like that. You know what I'm saying? And we can go on and on about a lot of these things, but a lot of this playing out is from a prophetic standpoint, and I think they're trying to do everything to ensure whatever the Bible is saying and whatever the Vatican, whatever they got going on, all of these little subsidiaries got a lot going on with each other in it. And it's all a spiritual battle. It's all a battle for not just our spirit, but our physicality as well. And, it deals with a lot of emotion pulling. Like, all of this stuff is imaginary. Bills. We should have free water. We should have free. We should be able to buy food. All this land that I passed, I passed so much land that they can build homes. Nobody should be homeless. Nobody should be hungry.
Yeah,
Why
but
they got all this land with nothing on it? With nothing
barren
on
land.
it.
Yeah.
For miles. For miles. It ain't barren. You can grow stuff on it. They growing corn.
No, some
If you can
places
grow
are barren.
corn on it, you
They
can grow
screwed
food.
it up.
If you can grow corn, you can grow food. Now, if you can grow corn, you can grow food. If they growing kale and tobacco, you can grow food.
Yeah, it's just a big thing.
It's no excuse for all of this land and for all of these people to be homeless and for everybody to be hungry. It's no excuse.
Yeah.
When I pass places, you know, I can drive from Virginia to Texas 2 days, and all you see is nothing but land.
Yep.
For miles.
You
know, you go through cities.
Go through Iowa, you'll see it for sure.
You got main roads that go through cities to all of this land. You got cities. Like, I'm gonna tell you one of the worst cities I've been through. And God bless everybody's soul. There's some good people there. Gary, Indiana. It's one of the most ran down places I've ever been in my life. I mean, it's so full of old ancient buildings. You see all of this ancient architecture and everywhere. You know what I'm saying? You look at all these big downtown buildings and stuff and all these big structures. It's bigger than what we really think it is out here. And that's why I said, you know, you give me, you ask me my final thought. This is my final thoughts about a lot of it. It's all the spiritual and defense mechanisms that are put in place. And what I mean by defense mechanisms is mean guard ourselves, man. You know what I'm saying? Stay out the way, pray.
You got it. That's it.
A lot of people, what's the problem with a lot of people nowadays, they don't pray no more. Everybody is so distraught, stressed out. You know, you speak to people can't even look at you and say hello no more. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's nice. You can't even trust nobody no more. You know what I'm saying? You can't even let people come around your girl. Can't let your kids go over folks' house no more. You know, the trust factor, like this it's nothing there no more. You know what I'm saying? Because because they're making society so cold.
Speaking of that, you all know we're at that age now. We can look back when we were young ourselves. When we were young people, like 8, 9, we used to go to bed with our windows up, our doors wide open.
Them days are over with.
Unlocked.
Long gone.
So what happened? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Remember? So we do remember those days. So it's a huge contrast now. So that just tells you exactly where we've gone.
Yeah.
And how far, even when it comes down to, like I think Lisa made mention, it takes a village to raise a child. People don't care about nobody's child no more.
Nope. Your child's not even safe. The child's not even safe to play in its own front yard anymore.
Not anymore.
If nobody's kidnapping it, somebody's brutally abusing it.
Or talking ways that they shouldn't.
Or your child's being so bullied that they committing suicide at freaking 10 years old.
Yeah. Man. And I mean, I do recall being.
You know, 10. Everybody talk about different races.
So what?
You know, everybody talk about different races, but they don't look out. And nobody's looking out for their own at all anymore.
Nope.
You know,
it's all about self.
We were just talking about that, Anton. We've been me, Lisa, Anton, all of us been talking about that. Like, we've all noticed that something is so different right now. It is not at all like it used to be. That's why I said, are y'all sure the world hasn't ended and restarted again and again?
I believe.
Want to know what it is? People are broken.
That when they took the Pledge of Allegiance out of school,
prayers,
when they took prayer out of school, and this is when we was going to school, that there is no moral standards for none of these new generation young kids.
They started
They
doing
have
that,
no moral. They don't have no
tearing
morals.
down
They
monuments.
don't have no values.
Yeah,
There's no inspiration. There's no old school guidance. There's nothing. It's like an
no.
empty shell walking around in a body.
And
It's like no
that's
respect.
what it is.
It's,
No
it's like
I
no
respect,
mean,
respect.
no
like
regrets, no
they walk
nothing.
around to defend themselves with a knife or a gun because guess what? Back in the day, when we got into fights and
We
arguments or
use
whatever, we used
these.
our hands. But
We
you know
use
what? You
these.
use your hands on somebody today, and
You will find
you
yourself
defeat
being
them. Guess what?
you
They're going to
gone.
come back 2 days
You
later to
gone.
shoot you or stab you.
If
You're
that
gone.
is not that, you'll get more time beating somebody up than just go ahead and kill them. Like it's crazy.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
But
that's
but you
true.
know the problem nowadays is now they've what you say desensitized or sensitized society to the point
They did.
whereas they took a lot of that out of society. They took away from us chastising our children or being chastised. So it's like when you get older, as you forget as an adult, there still need to be discipline. There
Right.
still need to be chastising going on. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when you like me as a supervisor or somebody that's in charge, like I get guys that never had no kind of real supervisor or no supervision before or nobody telling them what to do. So the
Right.
minute I tell them something or I try to correct them for a mistake they made or try to instruct them on how to do something, they get in their feelings.
Yeah, you're doing too
Mhm.
much.
You know what I'm saying?
Who you talking to like
You
that?
know,
Right? What?
And you're trying
yeah,
to help
you
them,
know,
and they totally missing the whole point.
Yeah.
But that
Straight
tells you,
right.
disrespect. Straight
But
disrespect.
see, but see, you know, to be a leader amongst people and be a leader of men, I can say that, you know, it takes a lot of patience and it takes a lot of understanding and looking at both sides of the fence. Because when I first started off, I was, you know, supervising, I was in charge in the work release departments and stuff like that. So I had work release and civilians. So when I was working with people from work release, I was working with a lot of guys that never even had a job before because they come only thing they knew was the streets. You know, the only thing they knew was, you know, chopping and bagging. So, you know, coming out here, you know, using a hand tool, a drill, or screwdriver, that's all foreign.
Yep.
Mhm.
You know, the only thing, you know, it's a big difference between razor blades and plates, you know, and bagging. And you know, and you know, in the conversations you hear and the things that people life experience, I'm gonna tell you, man, the reason why life is where it is right now because people are so broken. They broken because of their upbringing. They broken because of their financial situation, and they broken because of the things that they experienced in life. Because all of you, everybody in this screen, when you talk to somebody, what is the main energy that they give off to you? Is that they broken, they need help, or something is ailing them. And sometimes you don't even want to talk to people no more because every time you talk to somebody, it's always a problem. Or they always need money.
Yeah.
You know, oh man, I got a bill to pay. Dang, you know, and it's always kind of like that cop out to seeing if you're gonna offer that olive branch to help, you know,
Yeah.
especially if they know you got money and they can
Yeah.
borrow something, you know. You're gonna
Yep.
always
Yep.
help
Yeah.
somebody, you know what I'm saying? Somebody, and then society is so entitled to that. Like if you know I'm doing okay, I'm supposed to help you now. That's what they're going around. Like you supposed to pull your brother up.
Yeah,
But
but
what
the
if I
thing of it is, you know, but see, people are getting smarter now. People are getting a lot smarter now. And they're not just gonna let people, you know, there was a point we could give out a couple of dollars here, do whatever for people, you know that. But now it's like people ain't playing when they ask them for money no more. They want $1,000. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it ain't no, oh, let me borrow $20, let me borrow $3, let me borrow $5. No, let me borrow 1,000. Let me borrow 2,000. Okay, and I'm sitting there going, Lord, I couldn't find $20. Does that make you think I'm gonna find?
Mhm.
But that's just the way the world is now.
And then when
and they
you
don't care.
borrow the money, you see them in the club or they done took a trip somewhere, they partying.
Or
You know,
either
every
right,
time
and
these
they
people
don't know
that's
you
borrowing
again.
money, they always partying. You
And
know,
do you understand that they get mad when you ask for the money back? Like, you got the nerve,
You
you
committed a
got the
crime.
audacity to get mad at me for asking for my money back?
You done committed a crime.
or would you
Yeah,
say
they
no?
just
You don't
won't
hear
do
from them
stuff
no
for
more.
you because you
Right.
didn't give them the money. I mean, you
Mhm.
know, that sort of thing. Yeah, you get a lot
You
of
don't
that.
get. Oh, look, you don't give them the money. You don't go viral. Okay. If you ask for the money back, you don't go viral. Okay.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, it's like,
Damn if you do,
Because you
damn if you
best
don't.
believe you don't loan them the money. They on Facebook putting it all over
you
Facebook.
bad, you the worst person
Why
in the
you did?
world.
Right.
Why do you didn't loan them the money?
Oh, you're
And then
horrible.
when
If
you
you
go to
needed
ask
it
for the
that
money
bad,
back,
why'd you
you
loan it
all
to
on
me? Do
Facebook.
what?
You all on
Yeah.
Facebook
I'm
about
dying
why
with you.
why you they had the audacity to ask me for the
I'm
money
sorry, I
back.
had a moment.
Right.
Yeah. No, but it's true. It's real truth in that, you know. And I know here we go. We off on another tangent again, and we done went a whole 25 minutes over. Yeah.
I'm sorry, y'all. That's my fault right there. I got into one of my
No.
little
It was good
long eulogies.
I think that we need to talk about this event. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what we need to do. We need to talk about that coming up because surprisingly enough, we're all going through it.
Man.
We're all going through it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people are rich trying to hold on to their wealth. Some people are broke trying to get a little bit more wealth. Some people are in the middle, don't know whether or not they're going to lose everything or the probability of them gaining says no, they may end up going back into a whole different tax bracket. So at the end of the day, it's like, it's so much to talk about. It's so much mess that has happened. We all know that there's a change, a shift in this. We all know that. And so I think that we need to talk about it, you know. But Lisa, you got your last words? Because I think Ming might be gone, but
Yeah, I think Ming's
you got,
gone.
yeah,
My
you got
last words are, like we said, things are going on around us that people aren't paying attention to, and they are putting people in places so we can pay attention to those people and not pay attention to what's going on. But I can say a few years ago, Lauren and I, Crank and I used to watch the TV and be seeing things going on the TV, and we'd be like, "That's, it's a cover-up scheme," because they're actually putting the reality of things going on the TV. People just aren't paying attention.
Right.
They already put it out there. You just don't. You're not. Your eyes are covered with a shade, and you're not paying attention to what's really going on. I mean, it's they put it on TV, they put it on the radio when they're talking about stuff on the radio, and you're just not listening.
Yep.
So, it's time for people to start opening their eyes, listening to what's going on, and pay attention, and see that it's about to go down, and you better start getting prepared for it.
Yeah.
But on another note, I want to really appreciate everybody that came on tonight and involved
Anton
with
give his
our.
final?
Oh,
Hold on
did
one
you give
second.
us your last thoughts,
I did.
Anton?
I did.
Anton?
Yeah, he
I
did.
did.
Okay.
So I wanted to thank everybody that came on tonight. We had a good conversation, a critical conversation, and I hope everybody stay tuned for what we have coming up. The next critical conversation is going to be in the moment, and you're going to really want to be on that show.
Yep. All right, everybody. I want to thank everyone for coming out. I appreciate you all. You all have a beautiful rest of your evening. Okay. And see you in a couple weeks.
All right. Bye.
All
All
right.
right. Bye.
All right, everybody, crank it up.